Hello and welcome to the 20 podcast review. I'm Karl. It was Levy. Unfortunately, Doug is not able to join us today. He's boned up with a bad cold, so he will be back on after international break. We just got past 7 o'clock. The transfer window has now closed here in England. We will do in the English Premier League across the leagues in England. We will discuss all the transfer window stuff as well coming through in the next couple during the next hour or so. But like I said, I do have a guest star join us tonight. He's actually not just a Huddersfield fan, which I didn't know about because now he supports two my hate clubs. But he's a Man United fan. We've got to introduce the guest as well. Obviously we've got to be neutral, so that's what we're going to do. He's from United Central. Good evening, Ryan. Ryan, how you doing?
Yeah, good evening, mate. Yeah, obviously, big up to Doug for having me on, and obviously, gutted he's not here tonight, obviously, but hopefully he gets better soon. So sending my best wishes to him. But yeah, no, good to be here. Ready to talk lots of football. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You glad the transfer window's now done, closed now, it's all over. Can we just, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like every year, like I feel like don't know if anybody else got that opinion. I don't know what you think, Carl, but like for me, I think it'd be so much better, wouldn't it, if the transfer window closed before the season began?
I do
Because, you
agree.
know what
I
I mean?
think it
Yeah,
should be, yeah, it should be more across the whole of Europe to have an
yeah,
agreement.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm glad it's over with now, and not that any of our players were linked with moves away. Of course, any of our good players linked away, of course. But yeah, so not really. You know, a lot of fans like when you've got really really good players that are linked with a lot of clubs. Like you want to hold on to them, and yeah, but obviously we haven't been like that. But yeah, I'm just glad it's out of the way now. Focus on the season. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, everyone, please message in and on both Doug's and mine's channels as well if you want to get your questions in for me and Ryan. We will discuss or say hello to us. We'll appreciate that as well. We'll discuss this past weekend's results, Ryan, and we'll start off with Saturday's lunchtime kickoff between Chelsea against Fulham. A win for Chelsea. They won 2-0 against their rivals Fulham. João Pedro scored late in the first half, and Enzo Fernandez scored in the penalty in the 56th minute. But we have to get to the topic of that game, which the VAR interfering after when Josh King was referee. A lot of controversial decisions there. Where Robert Jones made the decision after Josh King, goals ruled out due to his teammate Rodrigo Muniz stepped on Trevor Chalobah's on the foot. Are you surprised that decision was overturned?
Well, what I will say about this is that the decision was a disgrace, by the way. But I'm not surprised with that it was overturned. No, because this is the VAR we're talking about. For me, I'm totally against VAR. I don't like it. It doesn't work. People that are in there controlling, making decisions, they have a clue what they're doing in there. So yeah, no, I'm not surprised. But for that to be overturned, let's just have it right. That was an absolute disgraceful decision, and it just seems like when we have decisions like this, you just kind of think about it like, would a decision like this go against a team like Chelsea? Would this happen if it was the other way around? No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't. And
No,
that
not
is
really.
what really annoys me and frustrates me. And I think that VAR was brought in to just add corruption to the game. That's how I see it. If you remember when VAR was brought in, it was to make the game a lot better, get the right decisions and things.
Yeah.
Hasn't done that at all. It's done the complete opposite. In fact, there's some decisions that are right, but some are just dreadful. So yeah, look, Fulham were robbed, and that changes the game, especially in a derby like this. You know what I mean? If they take the lead, then obviously it's going to be different, isn't it? So yeah, look, for me, poor decision, and yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, very poor decision, and it resulted, Michael Salisbury being dropped yesterday for Liverpool against Arsenal yesterday, which was not a surprise after that controversial decision. But Chelsea were not at their best, Ryan, but they got the results, and João Pedro's been on a good scoring streak.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that was a quality signing once from Chelsea, getting Pedro in. A really good player in it. I do like him. And yeah, look, really, really, you know what you're going to get with him, and he's come in and he's settled already at Chelsea. So yeah, no, look, Chelsea got the job done. And Chelsea are going to be a team that going to be fighting for the title this time, potentially, or pushing, or certainly knocking on the door. So yeah, no, I think good win for Chelsea, but I just think it's a shame that when you get a decision like happened with Fulham, I think it just overrides that win really for me. For them, they got the win, but that's just how I see it. But yeah, good win, and they're going to this international break, obviously. They got 7 points, haven't they, from their opening couple of games, so fairly good turnaround.
Yeah, absolute good turnaround for Enzo Maresca and the Blues completely. Where to go next? I'll leave Man United in a bit for later for a
Yeah.
bit. Let's go to the stage of light and Sunderland came down from 1-0 late in the second half to beat Brentford 2-1. Actually, which was a very good result for Rachel Labrie to get their second win of the start of the season. 6 points from 2 free games is good. And let's hear from our very own Michael Bowers, who sent his clip on for after his reviews at the game on Saturday. Have a listen.
Thanks very much to Karl and Doug for having me on the 20 football show. I'd recommend you go and subscribe to Karl and Doug's channels, both great content creators. Very quickly to assess it, by the time you're obviously watching this clip, the deadline day has passed. Because we've closed at 7 p.m. tonight, but it looks like Sunderland have got Trudia, I think it is, from Leipzig, and we've got Brobby from Ajax, which it looks like both are through the door, unless something has obviously happened. So obviously that's a defender, right back who can play centre back, but we've got Michele from PSG who can do the same role. But then also you've got the striker Brobby, which of course after Mark Ayew's loan was effectively cancelled, and we got a bit of compensation. From a PSR point of view, the fee we got from agreeing to cancel Ayew's loan then goes towards paying for Greer Trudia's loan, which is mental 5D chess, as one of my mates called it. And quickly on Sunderland's start of the season, look, it's a better start than I could have expected. I'm still disappointed we got beat at Burnley, I'm not going to lie, but at the same time, when you really assess it, 6 points from out of a possible 9, I think it's better than. Obviously, I can't remember how long it would have took for Leicester, Ipswich, and Southampton to get 6 points in the Premier League. I mean, I know Southampton would have probably took until like November, December to get anywhere near that tally, but regardless of that, it's massive. And obviously, the way we won the game at the weekend, if you look at the noise level at the Stadium of Light for the winning goal from Wilson Isidore, to turn that game around with about 15 minutes of play left was really important, because to me it showed that we can compete in the Premier League. Obviously, there's going to be harder games to come, but while you've got these fixtures, you need to win them. You need to get something from them. So to beat West Ham and Brentford, really, really encouraging. And maybe if Ballard hadn't gone off injured against Burnley, we might have got something there as well. But regardless of that, it doesn't really matter. Obviously, 6 points out of the first 9 available is incredible stuff. And obviously, the aim is still to stay up. We need to keep our feet on the ground. But at the end of the day, it's a long road ahead. But I couldn't be happier with the start.
That was our very own Michael Bowers from Sunderland, Sunderland fan. Ryan, what you'd expect Sunderland to get 2 wins out of the first 3 games? Did you? Were you expecting them? It was going to be a tough start for them. With the first couple of games before the first international break. How are you really glad how much they've done well in the transfer business this summer?
Yeah, obviously they've really brought some very good players and obviously, you look, they're doing very well, and the way they've really showcased already what they're about, and a lot of people probably wrote them off before the season began, but they're already proving that they actually got a fighting chance. The biggest sign for me, I think Granit Xhaka is a great sign for them in that middle of the midfield. Full of experience and a very good player. And they've got some good players, haven't they, in that team? So look, great start and great character to turn this game around, wasn't it? Against Brentford too. Had the struggling start to the season, admittedly, but to come back from that is really, really impressive. So look, and it's actually good to see collectively that the teams that have come up are doing very well early on. I think there was a stat, wasn't it like the last season, how long did it take for the promoted sides to get their first 3 points? And they've already been broken. I think it was
about 4 or 5 games at least, maybe a bit more. It took a bit of time, because it was a bit quite long.
So already, but all the promoted sides, have actually done a lot better than previous seasons. So does that mean that these sides potentially will stay up? We'll see. But good win for Sunderland, really good business as well for them, and let's see, because it's a long season, isn't it? So let's see if we can keep going.
Absolutely. In terms for Brentford, with Keith Andrews with his second defeat in across 3 games, they were surprising that they got the win last weekend, the weekend before against Aston Villa. It's losing this is going to be is huge once the deal's been confirmed by Newcastle shortly. But is he going to be under pressure, especially because the team, with them not doing much signings and let some players go, especially with Thomas Frank going, Norgard going as well, Wissa, and so forth. Do you have concerns over Keith Andrews with his managerial experience as a first-time manager in a top flight division?
Yeah, I do. I have huge concerns because for me, I thought it was a strange decision to appoint somebody like anyway. Like if you're starting out in coaching, to start in the Premier League, it's a big thing. It's a big thing. I mean, I think really you need to be, learning a little bit lower down and building yourself a little bit. So, look, it's a big challenge for him. Like you said, they've lost players, and Buemo as well has obviously left them as well. Let's not forget him. And I do worry for him. I think they will be down there, and I think for me, I see that their luck might run out this year. Now, obviously, if the really struggling by in the next couple of months, I do expect Keith Andrews to go. They probably will get rid of him, but the reality is they start the season with a manager that's never been in that position before. It's a massive risk, and you can't afford to do that. They've only just been staying up in recent seasons, haven't they? And riding their luck a little bit, and now they've got a manager that's inexperienced, and they've lost a lot of players, and I just worry for them massively. I really do. Yeah.
Yeah, the one player that really made a difference for Sunderland was their goalkeeper, who was Ruben Ruiz. He saved a a really good penalty for early in the first, after when Kevin Shard penalty was saved. How huge is he going to be for Sunderland this season? Especially he's coming in a new division from Europe.
Yeah, no, look, obviously, so well, we know only too well, if you don't have a good goalie, then it sets you out to be a very, no matter what player you got outfield. But yeah, no, it's important for them to have a really solid goalkeeper in there. But of course, in the Premier League, you do need to be, I think they've got some good defenders in front of him as well. You know what I mean? Trey Hume, full of experience as well in there, and a few others. But yeah, look, really good solid keeper, but like I say, will need help from his defence as well at times. But yeah, decent back. I actually heard of him before, to be fair. So yeah, maybe he's a good find.
Yeah, like I said, Sunderland do some good business. They find some good gems, not just
Yeah.
in top leagues across Europe, and hopefully it could pay off for them to survive this season. But like I said, yeah, it's still it's still early, But a good 2 wins from Sunderland across 3 games, it's good for them to go to the international break with huge confidence before their next game after next week. Where they play away against Crystal Palace as well. So yeah, another huge game after the international break. Right, let's go to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Ryan. Bournemouth getting a shock win against Spurs, and Van Nielsen scoring in the 5th minute. It was deflected. It took Spurs to get their first shot on target in the 60th minute. But do you think how the Bournemouth structure was in that with players they've lost really helped them so much, to get through to grind this game out?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Bournemouth, obviously, there's another team that have lost so many of their top players, haven't they? And you've got to feel for them a little bit. But look, under Areola, they're organised, this Bournemouth side, no matter who they've got in there. I really do like him as a manager. I think he's a brilliant manager. And yes, they frustrated Tottenham. And the fact that Spurs only had one shot on target all game, you've got to look at Spurs as well in terms of the lack of creativity. And when you've got a team that are organised, it's up to you to break that down. You can't just go, can't just finish the game and then say, oh, well, we played an organised side today, so that's the reason. I don't really think you can do that. You've got to take the initiative yourself. But look, Bournemouth, great win, and they're really dealing with losing a lot of players very well. A lot of a lot of fans are maybe thinking they're going to be in trouble, but I think that with Iriola in charge, I do like him. So, yeah, very, very bad day for Spurs, but Bournemouth, full credit to them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Full credit to Bournemouth. For Spurs, Thomas Frank's first defeat in the as Spurs manager in the Premier League. Like I said, they've had a good start. They came to the abrupt end, but as I said, they get some good players in. Travis Simmons, he's in his squad. Colomani, it looked like he's going to be joining on loan. Shortly, we'll get that deal confirmed as well. So overall, is this a good transfer to Spurs despite they missed out on Eze and they're getting the players that they needed?
Yeah, I think Tottenham have made some good signings, but I still think they're still. I know they're still missing quite a few players for me in terms of, it depends what their goals are this season. But look, they have done some good business, but still think maybe a couple more in would have been a lot better. They still, I mean, with Mwani's come in, I don't know if he can play striker or if he's more of a wide man, but they haven't really got a striker in the building. Obviously, Solanke is injured. Richarlison is dreadful. But they obviously Kudus definitely a top player. But yeah, overall, a very good window for them. But I'm very bitter about Tottenham after what they did to us in the Europa League final. Anyways, I don't want to get back to that. Yes, still hurts. I have a disliking towards them now.
I'm not surprised he's still bitter after what happened in the conference in Europa League final. I'm not surprised, to be quite honest with you. But listen, it was not. It was the two worst teams in the final, so I didn't watch it. But in the end, you couldn't even score past Spurs.
No, dreadful.
Less about that, the better, to quite honest. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Then let's move on to the other game at Molineux, where Everton came away winning 3-2 against Wolves. Beto scored in the 7th minute. Ilya Ndiaye scored in the 33rd minute, while Wang Yi-chan scored early in the 21st minute, and Rodrigo Gomez scored in the 75th minute. But Kiwi Jones finished the game off in the 55th minute. Ryan, two assists for Jack Grealish. It looked like this is probably a good fresh start for him that he needed after leave Man City on loan to join Everton on loan.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, obviously, when Everton did get Grealish, I thought, you know what, fair play. Look, Grealish just wants to play football, doesn't he? And obviously, he's not at that Man City. And now, I suppose he knows that he is a key man in that side, and that is bringing the best out of him as well. I think it's a good fit going to Everton, in my opinion. And look, he's already showing why they signed him. Yeah, I think he can certainly help them towards, a much better position this season, along with, a few others that obviously I've liked Everton's business as well. I thought Everton have done a few good signings as well for me. So, yeah, really good, really good. Probably from their perspective, they need to be a bit more solid at the back. I know obviously they were the away side, but conceding 2. I'm not really keen on. I'm not really keen on Michael Keane, and Tarkovsky's a good. I just think there's something not going well there for them. But look, I'm waffling now. But yeah, Grealish, the top signing. I do think, we'll continue to see that consistently for the rest of the season.
Absolutely. Is this a huge concern, Ryan? Especially what's been going on at Wolves. For fans are voicing their concerns at the moment, and there was a lot of rules about Stan Larsen. Was wanted to leave to go to Newcastle. It's been a lot. It's been a lot of discontent at Molineux for Wolves, and then under Victor Pereira as well. Right? Oh, so we just lost Ryan there. Hopefully, we'll get him back on into the links shortly as well. Good evening, Jordan. How are you doing? Thank you very much for joining in as well. So we should get Ryan back on in as well through the link as well. So yeah, we'll get his response as well. Hopefully, we got it back. Ryan, hopefully, we can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, I'm back. I don't know what happened. It froze.
Sorry about that. I don't know how it happened there. It's all the streaming services that we use. It's not going to be clear cut. So
Yeah.
yeah, but I wanted to ask you a concern about what's been going on at Wolves. Third league defeat.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Where can you see them get the first win?
Oh, I mean, again, another team that I feel like they're going to have a really struggling season. You know what I mean? If you look at the signing, they've lost a few players. Well, and just look at their sign now in front of me, and they've got a few good players, but I really don't know where the next win's coming from. Ultimately, they've had a dreadful start, and they're already up against it. So, of course, it's still early on in the season, so plenty of time. But I don't know. I do worry for Wolves. I do. I just don't see where the goals are coming from. I don't see where the points are coming from. I just think the defence, awful. So, yeah, I don't know.
It's a huge concern. I'll just bring some breaking news, a couple of breaking news that Liverpool have submitted a deal sheet for their attempt to sign Mark Guay. They have 9 p.m. to complete that deal. Also, Whistler's deal sheet is gone in as well before the deadline. So, and also for Harvey Elliott as well too. So that deal is going to be hopefully give them to at least another an hour and a quarter left before the deadline, the extended deadline at 9 p.m. And also, Ben Chilwell has signed a new permanent 2-year deal to sign for sister club Strasbourg. So he moves there as well. What else is missed out? Also, Edouard has joined Len. He was not in the Palace squad, but he's now returned to France on a permanent deal. Mario Akanji is having a medical. He's moved to Inter Milan. They have agreed initial form of obligation to buy, which the loan fee is about 1 million euros, an obligation to around 50 million euros for that as well. And Chris Pass did make a signing just before the deadline. They've signed JD Canvot from Toulouse. That is deal worth about £20 million, £20.8 million, which he signed a 4-year deal with the number 23 shirt. He's probably the replacement for Matt Gray. So they got someone in the door now, Ryan, just about, So that's why this Gray deal is going to be done by tonight.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Obviously, yeah, I do feel sorry for Palace as well. They just won the FA Cup last season, obviously, then they won another trophy, obviously the Community Shield as well, and just like, look, Gay, what a player. By the way, Mark Gay is not only a great player, he's a top professional.
Yes.
And I've loved how he's conducted himself, compared to a few others that you probably know that I'm talking about, who I'm talking about here.
Yeah.
Particular players that have, used that player power, too much player power in football, football now. But look, Mark Gay, he's stayed professional today, and even playing last night, despite all the speculation and putting the performance like he did, that's what you should be doing. And, you know what I mean? So, yeah, look, he's got his move, and Crystal Palace, unfortunately, have to move on without their captain. But, again, it is one of those, and it's unfortunate for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially he was in his going into the last 12 months of his deal at Selhurst Park, so yeah, for a better time to cash in as well. So, and also news that in Sky, according to Sky in Italy, Dele Alli has terminated his contract at Como. He did originally sign an 18-month contract in January, but they have terminated his contract, so he will be a free agent as of now. So yeah, that has just been coming in the last couple of minutes as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's such a shame, isn't it, about Dele Alli? He's a player that had all the talent. He was actually, when he was very, a bit younger. Obviously, a lot, people thought he was going to have a fantastic career, but I don't know. His injuries have plagued him, and maybe he's just focus on the game itself has let him down as well. And I remember when he was at Spurs once, and I think when Mourinho was there with I remember they obviously, because I think I watched something about Dele Alli. Was there like a documentary or something on Dele Alli?
There was an Amazon Prime on Spurs, but there was a documentary he did with Gary Neville on the overlap. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the one I had. That's one I didn't watch this. I didn't watch the film, but I did watch the overlap. Yeah, and yeah, he was saying about Mourinho kind of sat him down one, and obviously, kind of said, look, where you go is on you. Where you go is kind of on you, and you're the only one that will hold you back because you've got a lot of talent. And unfortunately, it's gone the other way. And it's a shame really. But I don't know where if he's gonna continue playing or if he's gonna just stop playing altogether now. Don't know.
Yeah, he's got a huge decision he's going to have to do now. I think he'll come back to the UK, and I think he will assess his next steps where he goes with his future for his life. So yeah, absolutely. Let's go to one of the games on Saturday night and Saturday evening kick off with at Ellen Road. Leeds got a 0-0 draw against Newcastle. Ryan, it was good. Was that a good point for Leeds to stop? Against the Newcastle side, still looking for their first win.
Yeah, I think obviously, it was certainly a good point for you. Obviously, the thing is though, at home though, you will need to be picking up a lot of points at home. But obviously, Newcastle got a lot of quality in there. But shame there wasn't goals in this game. But I thought that it was a very tight game. Obviously, Newcastle were pushing as well at times and just couldn't quite get the breakthrough. But good point for Leeds, and I think better point for Leeds than it was for Newcastle, who have started the season not very well, have they at all? But
absolutely, and also they made a big signing with Nick Voltemade from Stuttgart. He couldn't play; he was late, but he was in the grounds, in the ground and watching the game as well. How huge is he going to be for Newcastle, especially? He was a bit of a late, but he's I won't say late bloomer, but he's he did score a lot of goals for Stuttgart last season. So is he going to be that type of good replacement? With his statue to try to really give physicality what Eddie Howe's been missing under Isak.
Well, what I will say is obviously they need a striker, so obviously they've got two now with Visser obviously as well coming through the door. But I don't know much about this guy from Germany, to be fair. You said you seem to know more than me, but the thing is, it's very hard to kind of look at what players have done elsewhere with because obviously yes, fair play, he's done well in the Bundesliga over there, but it's a different ball game in the Premier League, isn't it? And obviously he'll have to adapt to a new country, and adapt the way the Premier League's played, the intensity and stuff. So, look, it looks like he's got something about him, but I think time will tell. And look, it was always going to be impossible to people can't compare to Isak, for example, because it's just never going to be the same, is it? But so don't know much about him, but certainly he's got a lot of pressure on his shoulders to come in and do well. So we'll see how he adapts.
Yeah, absolutely. He was the top scorer this summer's Euros under 21 Euros as well. So that
fair enough.
And also he's unique because he was not a household name in Germany, but he joined Stuttgart on a free transfer last season, and now have made a huge profit. So
big. How much was he? How much did he cost again?
For about 60 up to 63 million, going up the add-on fees up to 69 million.
Yeah, so it comes with a big price tag. So again, that's big pressure. It's pressure coming to the Premier League, and it's pressure coming to a club like Newcastle, and Newcastle fans, are so demanding, of course, as well. So anyway, we'll see how he gets on.
We'll see how it gets on over the next 9 months across the Premier League season as well. Particularly for Leeds, right? Were you a bit disappointed with the lack of the final third, which is been talked about recently? The final third scoring from open play. Is that a huge worry for Danny Farker if he doesn't get Harry Wilson in, and if they still don't go through? Is this a concern that Leeds, should have done more, a little bit more aggressive in the latter stages of the transfer window?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's quite clear that the team are lacking that spark in there, out in the final third. And the reality is that if you would have potentially had somebody in that final third that could really spark something out of nothing, kind of thing, I think you may well have won that game against Newcastle, because Newcastle didn't seem to want to win the game. I know they haven't got a striker, but they didn't seem to want to win it. So the game was there for you. And unfortunately, that lack of quality in the final third costs you ultimately, and that's how I see it. So look, you can get if Harry Wilson is done, then that would be a big signing. But if not, I think that will be a big worry, really. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be, and especially Leeds were linked with so many players in the last day, and it's somehow we not got what we wanted. And I think when you let players like Ramazani go to Valencia, and I don't know why Farke is been like that to him since when he got the injury, when he picked up a knee injury back in October last year, and when he started a couple of games, and then it somehow that relation. I would have said that relationship. I would say I don't know if the relationship sour, but it's like you're not giving him more chance, to prove himself, And I think he's shown that in Valencia just in one game.
Yeah, absolutely. That was obviously a crazy decision, really, wasn't it? And like I say, when you're going to a Premier League season, you need to be the best prepared you are, because if you aren't, then it's all right, not doing your business in the summer window, but then the next opportunity is in January, and by then you may well be struggling to get yourself out of the relegation zone. So I don't know, man. I feel for Leeds. I think Leeds are probably in the most vulnerable position to go down. That's how I see it.
And I can understand. Listen, when loving Bielsa, we was very, like, let's say, yeah, we can fight. But under Farke, it's difficult. That's why we're a bit more pessimistic and just say, let's see pragmatic. So let's see how it goes now. The first couple of games, if Farke don't get the results, then we have to change for someone. And listen, he's got for 4 parts of 3 games. It's okay. But we expected we won't expect a bit more in the next coming weeks.
Yeah, it's funny, Nick, because how come he's not really playing Pirro in that striking position? Because Pirro, I think, is a good physical striker, and I think he could potentially be a good player for you guys, but doesn't seem to be favouring, does he, at the moment?
I will say this from as a Leeds perspective. It is a bit weird with that one. I was surprised that Pirro did not play on Saturday in the starting, and I know Lucas Nemka came in. I think because of that, because we just let Bamford go on a mutual termination. I just listen. Pirro, he scored 19 goals last season in the championship, but this is his first proper season. So he's gonna, he's gonna have to, especially against big games. I think Calvin Lewin, despite with his fitness, he's probably been more coming off the bench for the time being until he gets fully fit, because he's had an injury rise for his couple of seasons. So I think Pirro would have been more favourable completely, and like I said, speaking of Devil, Doug said, even guys, Liverpool have a solid keeper. Yeah, we do. Lucas Perry is a very solid keeper, and it's surprising that Melier he's not left. He's I don't know if any deals can happen in France tonight, but he's still the third choice goalkeeper at the moment, third or fourth choice goalkeeper, and he was a post goal, but we still kept him. So I think we'll probably sell him in January for the best of the profit. Like I say, when he came in, he was very raw, was good, but I think like all these errors and stuff, I think Pereira is more of a better physicality of commanding his box than Melier. So I think, give or take, mainly with the squad, with the up front, it's the goals we need, especially to finish in the final third is a critical point.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you say that? Your goalkeeper, is he new to the club, or has he been here? Has he been at the club for a while?
Pereira was new to the club. He joined from Lyon.
Right, okay.
Yeah, because he came from Botafogo under John Textor's football ownership. So he was probably he's got one of the longest goalkeeper throws to get across half the pitch, and his physicality was more better. Commanding the box is better than Melier. That's what we needed, especially we needed someone a bit older, but who was very experienced and done well across Europe. So Pereira is a Brazilian, international. So there was always realized that his talent, he was the right fit. It was either him or Nick Pope, but I think the Pope deal just dragged on a bit. I think Pereira moved up the list anyway.
Yeah, fair enough.
And he did play against Man United. He did play against you guys in the Europa League as well. So he was always, Pereira is always, that, which you should watch, because I think,
I don't know. I can't remember. I can't remember it. I don't know. Maybe I was caught up in the shocking season. I think I checked out by that point. Yeah, I checked out. A few games.
Yeah. I'm not surprised you checked out anyway, right? I'm not surprised a lot of Man U fans did. So, but Prairie was probably one of the stand-up performers against you guys in the knockout stages because, like I said, I think it could have gone either way until you lot got a late winner.
I
So
remember that game. I like coming back to me now. Yeah. But he did concede quite a number of goals in that game as well. So.
exactly, yeah.
But yeah, that was crazy, that game.
Oh yeah, very crazy. It was very crazy as well. Do you know what? Let's get onto your team with Man United getting a late penalty to win the game against Burnley, winning 3-2. Josh Cullen own goal in the 27th minute. La Foster scored equalised after the second half in the 50th minute, and 2 minutes later, Brighton Benrose scored in the 57th minute, and then Jaden Anthony is equalised again in the 60th minute until it took the 97th minute penalty from Bruno Fernandes to win the game. Ryan, let's talk about the week you had last week. You drew against Fulham. You got knocked out the Carabao Cup against Grimsby, and it could have, the interview, the awkwardness of what Ruben Amorim came out with his post match interview, and also his pre-match in press conference as well. Give us your reflection of what happened the last 7 days.
I mean, I don't really know where to start, to be honest with you. It was a really, really tough week. I agree with what you're saying about Ruben Amorim. For me, things he's saying to the media and stuff like that is very strange. The reality is, we got beat by Grimsby in the cup, and I just think to myself, it was just embarrassing from minute one. The players we had on that pitch should have won that game easily. But I question this manager. I've questioned this manager a lot. The way we're playing, not convinced by him at all. And I don't really see what we're trying to do in there. It's just too weak. Players just not knowing what to do in a sense. So yeah, look, the Grimsby defeat was shocking. We deserved to lose that game, and I think the penalties were shocking as well. But should never have got to that point. What was it last week? Look, I've already checked out. You've already told, right? Let me just have a look at last week.
Drawing against Fulham, and then it just shows how much there's so much issues, and I think it's with him not being adaptable to to the player's strengths, not the weakness. And then we had something like Kobe Manu wanted to leave the club on loan. It's so much shit show that was going on until Saturday, till you got the win, and I just don't know how can you break that streak again to try to be consistent.
I really don't know, because the reality is, I go back to this transfer window. Yeah, like, first of all, it's all right, well and good spending £200+ million on your front line, but when your biggest we already had, they may not be the best players in that final third before the summer's kind of transfer activity, but we still had options there. We needed to fix the goalkeeper. We needed to fix the midfield. We need another number 6. We need a ball-playing midfielder, that's physical, that can dictate the game. We haven't got that, and so the priorities were wrong there. It's taken us ages to get a goalkeeper in, and it's just like, what are we doing here? We start the season with no number 1 goalkeeper. Are you actually kidding? So, look, nothing will ever change until these owners leave, and it'll always go back to the owners, because the reality is, over the past 10 years, the Glazers have been an absolute disgrace, the worst ownership ever imaginable. It's just torture having those guys there. And we've had Ineos come in, and they're just as bad. They're just as bad with the decision making and stuff like that. So look, a very, very poor week. Fulham, we shouldn't. When you go ahead in a game, you're going to manage the game. You've got to manage that game. And the way we conceded against Fulham, that was another shocking game. And then we go into the Grimsby game, looking like we can just turn up and win the game. Well, just turn up and expect to win.
Especially a second string Grimsby side that was even the full strength team.
Yeah, no, but even if it wasn't their full strength, even if it was the full strength team, we should be beating Grimsby. In all due respect, I don't care if it's the second team, third team. You know what I mean? We should be beating Grimsby, and we got embarrassed. And this manager fails to change it. This manager fails to change it to get a game in our favour. And then you have the cheat. Did you see it? You have the cheat to get his tactic board out. What are you doing? There was no tactics. You were embarrassing yourself here. I'm sorry. And people say, I've got an agenda against this manager. No, I haven't got an agenda against this manager. I want better from this manager. And his manager isn't playing to the strength of the team. He's frozen out Kobe Manu, if you already said. Why has he done that? And then you've got Kobe Manu saying he wants to leave on loan. Well, of course he does. He's not playing, and he has every right to. He wants to play football, the lad. And when you're refusing to play him, when you do bring him in, you're not playing to his strengths. It's just a complete and utter mess, this club. And so look, and then for the penalties as well, Ruben Amorim, sitting in the dugout, not even looking at the penalties. You should be up there with the coach and the team. What are you doing? Not even watching the penalties. And then the nonsense he comes out with afterwards about, I thought about quitting as Man United manager. I'm saying, hang on a minute. I don't want my manager to be saying that. If you've got any inkling, if you're thinking about resigning, then leave now. Because I don't want a manager that is going to be thinking about this all the time. He is finding every excuse under the book. I'm not a big fan of his style of play. I don't like the formation. I don't like what he's doing. His in-game management is woeful. And it's just not good. So, and then we get to obviously we get to this game, at the weekend, and it's just like, well, you know what I mean? Yeah, we won. But I'm not going to sit here and celebrate a win that we've just scraped through against the Burnley side, who are odds-on favourites to go down. And, you know what I mean? We should have been out of sight by half time, in my opinion. We didn't. Then they equalised. So we lost the lead twice in this game. It's just shocking. The defence is all over. But we've got the goalkeeper situation will always be the downfall. I'm sorry to keep going on, but Baindia and Anana, that is what the clown show is. These keepers are a disgrace. No other team in the Premier League would have those goalkeepers in. That sums it up. So why have we got them in? And why is this manager deciding to keep? I'd rather have Tom Heaton. I said it.
Everyone's been saying that, yeah.
At least he won't make the howlers. He's not, I don't care about a goalkeeper that plays with the feet. I want my keeper to be able to save shots. That's what I want, first of all. So look, we scraped through a penalty. Obviously, a penalty for me. Yeah, definitely a penalty for me. But people may say wise. But yeah, it's a win. But I'm just not happy, and I've already checked out.
I'm not. Everyone's surprised. Everyone's checked out so early with you guys at Old Trafford. I'm really surprised with that. Especially you have a good number one goalkeeper is doing quite well at Bristol City in the last couple of games, and Vitek is in a good side that want to beat Hull 4-2 this past weekend. And it's like, how have you let that? I don't know. I really.
How have we just not get our goalkeeper in the summer like we should have done? Because look, Vitek, fair enough, he's gone on loan and he's doing well, but he's not up to standards at this club either. You can go away and you can play for a team like Bristol, in all due respects, and that's fine. But the pressure at Man United is completely different. You know what I mean? And I don't really think he was ever going to. I wanted us to go out and get a goalkeeper, and of course, we finally decided. It hasn't been confirmed yet, but I'm pretty much expecting the confirmation very soon. United always do things last, always the last person to announce it. So we'll probably hear about it at some point. But we should have been in months ago, this keeper. Or why not go for it? Why not be ambitious and try and get a Donnarumma in that goal?
He's world class. Man City now, so that
But he's world class. He's a class goalkeeper. Yeah, Martinez. We linked to him, class goalkeeper. We've gone for a keeper who, look, he looks. At this point, I don't care who's in the goal, as long as it's not Baindia and Anana. That's why I'm right now. Because you can have all the quality, you can have all the good players, spend a load of money third forward. If you don't address the issues that were the root cause of why we were so poor last season as well, or a big reason, then you're just going to keep, you're just going to keep throwing away games. And so for me, Mainu should be coming into this team, and the balance isn't right. He's not got the balance right, so I don't really know where we go from here, but it's just going to be another painful season, I think, and that's how I see it.
Yeah, very much so, especially your rivals across the M62 somehow actually, has done well of not bringing Amrit in because he was linked to that job a few months ago, 12 months ago, and he never went. So it's a good thing. There's a reason why Slot was chosen because his adaptability compared to Amri's inflexible 3-4-3, 3-5-2-3.
He won't change. He won't change. That's the thing, and that is going to be his downfall. Because this is a results-based business. If he doesn't start getting some results by Christmas, he'll be gone. That's how I see it. And it's going to be the rinse and repeat cycle again and again and again. And we seem to be going for managers that are just stubborn and not playing to our strengths. So I just can't see it any other way. Amorim, I just don't think he handles the press very well. Like I said, I don't want to keep going on that too much on the show here, but I don't think he handles the press very well. I don't think he adapts well in games. His in-game management is questionable. Every time I see a starting lineup from him, I think, what are we doing here? I'm not convinced by what I see from the starting lineup every single week. This is how I feel. So, I don't know. I just think this club is a mess. And like I said, until the owners go, that's the root cause of why this club is where it's at. Then we're going nowhere, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, every Man United fan I talked to I said roughly the same thing what you just said. So, yeah, it's not surprising, especially when you three previous Man United managers got sacked within 4 days, such as Oli, Jose, and now Eric Ten Hag today as well, who's been sacked after 3 games against Bayer Leverkusen. So
Yeah.
it just shows you a lot. It's not always rosy on each side when you leave Manchester United, no matter how. So.
Absolutely. So, yeah, but we move international break. United can't let me down next weekend, so happy days.
Happy days for you indeed, yeah.
Yeah, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. I mean, it's just horrible, isn't it? It's just horrible to go into a season again. But I wrote this before the season began. I wrote this before end of last season. I knew we would be in this position again because nothing changes at this club. That's how I see it.
Absolutely. Before we get to our next game, good evening, Chris. Yes, we are well. Yes, and good luck to all the 3 promoted teams this season. Hopefully break the cycle. Chris from LITD TV as well. He's go follow him on his channel for all his Leicester City content as well. Please do that as well. Let's go into Sunday's games, right? And we'll start off at a late winner from Brighton, to win against Man City 2-1. Erling Haaland scored in the 34th minute, while Jay Smith scored an equaliser, and Brendan Gruder scored his first goal. Brian Gruder scored his first goal to give Brighton the first win of the season. And let's talk about Man City. Rodri came out very criticising the squad completely of that. 2 games on the trot now, back-to-back defeats for Pep and the citizens.
Yeah, look, absolutely. Look, I'm loving Man City's downfall still, of course. But yeah, look, for me, people, when people are saying, "Oh, Rodri," the reason Man City aren't playing well last season because of Rodri wasn't there. Well, he's there now. So now what we're going to say? We're going to make another excuse. Look, Man City, I don't know what's happening, but they are just completely off it right now. They brought in some players in the transfer window. I don't know if you've seen the breaking news about Martin Gay, by the way, but yeah.
Yes, it's just coming up now, actually. Wow, that is big breaking news. So Matt Gay's move to Liverpool from Crystal Palace is off, despite the deal sheet was submitted for the Eagles skipper. So Matt Gay will still be a Crystal Palace player probably till January, but that deal is now off. That is huge breaking news, right? As we said before, yeah, we thought it was on. It was a couple of minutes, but now. Liverpool left it late. Liverpool left it late to sign another defender.
Yeah, they did, but I think they were having to wait. The reason they had to wait for Gay is because Crystal Palace wanted to get a replacement in. That's why they had to wait, and that's what held this up. And yeah, look, wow, very, very surprising. Of course, Palace fans will be in party mode because they get to see Gay for a bit longer. And yeah, look, there's no hard feeling either because I've already alluded to before, he was professional till the very end. So Palace fans will be thankful to bring him back in, of course. No issues there. But yeah, I mean, wow. I mean, what is the reason it's being called off? So do you know the reasons why?
We are waiting for more details on why
right,
it's fallen, so we'll get that during the course of the show, hopefully before the show ends. So yeah, like I said, Michael said agreed about parts of the sign of centre half, but we'll get the more details shortly in this show why that deal is now off the table. So yeah, this is surprising. Doug said, you just said it, got to respect Gray's professionalism throughout this whole transfer completely. Yeah, absolutely agreed. Yeah, I agree. 100% agree with that completely.
There's a lack of professionalism in this game now. Too much money about, but Gay, fair play to him, like Doug says, and I already alluded to it early, didn't I? I just love the way he's gone about it, and yeah, professionalism doesn't seem to be on the radar of many footballers now out there because of the money that's in the game. But yeah, very, very surprised, and yes, but I can carry on with the Man City downfall, of course. But look,
I guess.
I mean, Man City do not look the same team, and for me, there's something not clicking there. There's problems, and you know what I mean. I think they've signed Trafford, of course, who obviously has been in goal for the last couple of games, and I just don't think I don't think he's a great keeper. Me, I think he looks quite shaky in there. The defence is, you know, that centre back, you know, centre back pairing. See, that Kusanov isn't a very good player for me. Looks shaky. John Stones is steady. But yeah, look, I thought Brighton were good value for their win. They showed character, and they came back, and Man City were just all over the place. And yeah, Brighton certainly, which was no fluke, they deserved to win the game. And Man City starts the season. Well, the funny thing is, we've actually got more points than Man City at this point, which is, you know, so it's good to be looking down on them right now. But yeah, Brighton fully deserving, and Man City, just something isn't right behind the scenes, in my opinion. There, that's how I see it.
Yeah, very much so. For Brighton, especially, you know, they've, you know, we know that they've had they could have lost a couple more players in the transfer window, but they have it in a way. Was that a huge win that they needed for Fabi Hurtzler to get that first win of the season out of the way?
Yeah, no, Brighton, you know, obviously, you know, very, very good, you know, a team that, you know what I mean, I do like the way they play. And yeah, obviously, James Milner, obviously scoring the penalty. I still can't believe he's playing at his age, but yeah, fair play to him. And yeah, it was a good goal, wasn't it, to win it from Gruder as well. Very, very nice to take and goal. And yeah, fair play to Brighton. They deserved it. And Man City going to the international break in a bit of a bad situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I'm getting some bit of news from Dawson just about a couple of minutes ago. So Liverpool, you know, we'll get details, but because what originally was going to be the plan that Igor Julio from Brighton was supposed to be Gray's replacement at Selhurst Park, he had a medical at the club earlier today before he changed his mind. He's joining West Ham instead, but that deal's not even done yet, either. So they may have scuppered the move, which means Gray will stay at Crystal Palace, but they may lose out on the £35 million if he leaves on a free transfer next summer.
They're not getting anything for him now. They've lost it. They've lost their money now, Palace, because they're not going to get any money for him now. And look, it's one of those situations. Gay's made it quite clear he's not going to sign a new contract at Palace. And yeah, so really, Palace, it's probably the worst situation to lose him on a free next summer. But so yeah, so the deal's broken down because Palace have they pulled out, or
it looks like we're still waiting who pulled out the deal. So we're trying to hear about
All right, okay.
which club pulled out the deal. So the Liverpool had got the paper, and it was despite the deal was submitted before the deadline, it looked so they had at least another 2 hours to try to get this deal done. But we will still get more details of
Yeah.
why, who has pulled out, which club did pull out. So that's going to be another question we will see in the next couple, hopefully before the end of the show as well. And I think, like what Turf, good let's see to see Dan from Turf Moorhouse TV, he did say on this now, passing kind of made a right bash of their window. Is who's more to blame, Crystal Palace? I don't think over Gaza is not his fault because he expected more. Do you blame the club itself of not, leaving it so late?
Yeah, I think obviously Palace, they've really, the board have really made a mess of their window. There's not been much organisation obviously there, and for me, if you look at the fact that they've lost, like Eze, and now obviously, I just think their transfer window has been very, very poor. And yeah, look, they may have gave for another 12, but to be fair, even without Eze, they've looked very good, haven't they, Palace this season so far? Fair play to them, you know what I mean? So, but I do think this is only the start of the season, so we'll see how they go. But yeah, I think Palace fans will be disappointed with things there. To be honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Just about 3 minutes ago, Arsenal have announced the signing of Pierre Hikape from Bayer Leverkusen. The defender has joined on a season-long loan with the option to buy for £45 million. He becomes Arsenal's eighth signing of the summer transfer window as well. And also, we'll have Turf Moorhouse to join us as well too. So I will send him the link as well. So yeah, we'll have Dan joining us shortly. We'll get his say on the Burnley game, of his Burnley view from last week, from the results this past weekend as well. So yeah, it is interesting we'll hear from his response as well. But again, we'll get more news about who pulled out the deal between Matt Gray as well, too as well. So moving on from the Amex, a bit surprising win, Ryan, for West Ham to gets Nottingham Forest 3-0, and it was no goals till the 84th minute till Bowen scored and Lucas Paqueta and Callum Wilson scored the latter goals. You surprised at how West Ham, despite they've had a poor start as well and a poor transfer window as well, completely before.
Yeah, no, for me, I'm massively surprised. How much did Graham Potter need this victory, by the way? He needed it massively. He was already under pressure. For me, I said it, I'll say it, keep saying it. I don't think Graham Potter is a very good manager. And this just buys him a little bit more time. But West Ham fans overall, you can see it, they're not very happy with him at all. I'm not surprised. But yeah, look, when you've got the quality like a Jared Bowen in there, you know what I mean? Lucas Paqueta, and look at Callum Wilson popping up as well. But look, Bowen, Paqueta, two very, very good players, and they were good value for the win West Ham, because if you look at the stats, I don't like going too much into the stats, but if you look at the stats, you know what I mean, they did have more shots on target in this match, and they looked more threatening. And I know Forest had more possession, but they didn't hardly do anything with it. They had a couple of shots Forest on target, and that's how I see it. So very, very good win for West Ham. They massively needed it. Graham Potter massively needed it, and it's just given them a boost, hasn't it, going into this international break? So yeah.
Yeah, so especially with Nottingham Forest, with what's going to be going on behind the scenes with Nuno and the owner, Evangelos Mayanakis, is that issue needs to be resolved completely?
What did you say? Sorry, I couldn't hear what you
No,
cut
do you
out
think
last.
with what's happened with the situation at Forest with Nuno's, comments
Oh,
after, with having a fight with the owner, can that issue be resolved during the international break?
well, it needs to do, doesn't it? Because it clearly is obviously saw a few comments that Nuno made. Obviously, they don't really see eye to eye with each other, and obviously they were holding those meetings over the international break. And yeah, something needs to give there, because it's clearly disrupting. You know what I mean? The team on the pitch, unsettling people a little bit. And Nuno, I don't know. I feel like if they can't come to some kind of, clear the air kind of situation, that we may see Nuno, leaving Forest.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Could see you leave it. Let's say good evening to Dan for Turf Mouse. Dan, good evening to you.
How we doing? You all
Yeah,
right?
good. Yeah, we're good. We're good. We're good. Actually, since you're here, give us your perspective of the result this past weekend for Burnley losing at Old Trafford. Controversial, as you would put it down.
Yeah, a bit of a sucker punch, really. It was one of them even before kick-off that, I was making my way to the ground and I was thinking we either beat them 3-0 or we're getting beat 3-0 after that Grimsby game. It was, you didn't know what the atmosphere was going to be like around the actual whole stadium. There was a little sense of optimism going into it, thinking, right, we could potentially get something out of it. And with the way we've set up recently, I think we've done pretty well getting on the front foot, trying to get in the faces. We're not going to be one of those teams that sees a lot of the ball possession wise, but off the ball, we've got to be seen to be doing the right things, getting in the right positions. Trying to usher the opposition back into their own half before then putting them under a bit of a spell of pressure. But I thought we did that pretty well. I mean, Lyle Foster's offside goal that wasn't offside. I really don't understand that at all. Like, you can only be offside if it's a part of your body that you can use to play football. I'm sorry, but he can't use his arm or his sleeve. And more to the point, the United player's sleeve was also over the line, similar to how they were looking at Foster's. And I just thought, this is criminal, absolutely criminal. So I was aggrieved at that point. I will hold my hands up and say it was a definite penalty. I don't understand what Jadon Anthony was doing there. End of the day, law 12 of football tells you if you're tugging the shirt, even if it's outside the box, if you're still a hold of that shirt when that player goes down in the box, it's still a penalty. So to do that in the 95th minute is an absolute sickener. Very cheap, very, very cheap to give away. Ahmad went down like he'd been shot. But other than that, I'd have happily come away from there with a point. I think United have a lot to work on. It'll be good for them because in terms of the stats, they had shot after shot. They peppered us with possession. But I've seen enough of ourselves to think that we're going to give a very good account of ourselves this year as well.
Yeah, absolutely as well. Especially for Burnley after 3 games, you've picked up, a win and 2 losses. How do you assess after the first 3 games?
If somebody had said you've got 3 points after the first 3, when you had Spurs and Manchester United in that bracket, yes, you probably would have said we've got to be going out there and trying to beat Sunderland. Obviously, a team that you expect to be in and around at the end of the season. From a fan perspective, it's a 6-pointer. From an actual club perspective, it's just another game. It's too early in the season to call it a 6-pointer, but at the end of the season, that 3 points could be the massive difference. So we needed to win that game, hands down. The Spurs game showed us that we actually are here to battle as well. I think it's just that Spurs had a lot more in the legs. They've been playing out in Miami. They've just played PSG. They've got that more match sharpness where we hadn't. And no disrespect to Ryan, but we've played the likes of Huddersfield, Stoke. They're playing PSG. They've just played Arsenal and beat them 1-0 in America. There's a bit of a contrast. When the games we're playing is more about just not getting injured, getting some minutes in the leg. They were playing competitive football. So I didn't really look at that result as anything. I actually thought we'll be all right. Then the Sunderland game came, and Sunderland came to Turf Moor with the optimism and rightly so, after their win against West Ham. But it's like I've said to Sunderland, and look at the other teams that have come up and spent money. We tried to spend over 100 million when we signed Trafford and all that, and everyone thought, oh, company's going to do something. Didn't work. Ipswich under McKenna spent a lot of money. It didn't work. It's
on Championship players, not on Premier League.
Yeah. So now I think people are starting to see that you have to go off grid. Like I've said a lot now, you can't just delve into the Championship and pick up, a £1 million signing anymore. it's. I mean, you can see it today. Who's it? Tariq George at Chelsea.
Yeah.
I don't think has ever even kicked a ball for them. I'm not entirely sure.
He's had a couple of games more in the Europa Conference League last season.
That's what I mean. Look, 22 million for a guy who's
crazy.
what you're paying for is Range Rover. Are you paying that off? Like it's mad. The size of fees for these players that have barely even got themselves a name. It's shocking.
Yeah, it is. I've got some more news of why Gray's deal has fallen. So Palace did inform Liverpool that they will withdraw from the deal. So Crystal Palace was the club that decided to withdraw the deal for Matt Gray, despite the interest. Liverpool never wanted Joe Gomez to leave the club, so that's why they felt there was not going to happen, because Palace told them that they could not withdraw from the deal. So it's pretty much because the Palace decided, not Liverpool. So yeah.
I'm surprised by that. I'm really surprised, because Liverpool were there, £35 million, and now they're not going to get anything for him. But do you know what I mean? But Mark Gay is priceless in that team, and even if he'll go for free next year, who cares? He'll be there. He's what a player he is, by the way. He'll get his move next summer. But the fact that Palace withdrew, knowing full well that they won't be having any money from him anymore. This is you've got to be making money out, but you've got to make the money out of players. So yeah, but I don't know.
It's a lot of money to lose. Let's not forget that. A lot of money to lose. 35 million is huge. Yeah. Especially with all the crap that Palace have just had to go through with, chasing European football and all the riffraff with all that. The question you've got now is, are we going to have a similar Isaac situation, but from a defensive point of view at Palace? Because I think it was after the first game that Glasner tried to talk to Gray and he just walked off and sort of palmed him off. So how is this going to go? It's such a strange one.
Yeah, I didn't actually hear about that, but for me, from what I saw, look at Gay last night. He was clearly professional to the very end. Of course, he knew the speculation was going on. So I think in terms of the contract negotiations, having discussion with that, of course, he doesn't want to do that. So maybe that's why he walks off from that situation. But I think until he leaves Palace, he will stay professional. So I don't think there'll be any problems there, personally, for me. I think he'll just come straight back in.
Yeah. I back that up as well, too, actually. I think that will be the case. I think he'll still be professional, regardless if they do sell him in January or he goes to the free next summer. I just think
he needs to work, though. It's a World Cup year as well. Let's not forget.
Yeah, he does. It's a big one for him, especially if he wants to be in that 26-man squad under Thomas Tuchel. When we play, we will go across North America next summer. It really is, actually. And coming on to Matt Gray before we finish up with Liverpool against Arsenal, Villa losing 3-0 at home to Palace yesterday. Matt Gray did score in the game and was a bit lackluster. Very much lackluster from Aston Villa last night, guys, because I just think at the moment when that bizarre interview with Emery, he just said he didn't mention anything about Emery Martinez. He's just mentioned his goalkeeper's name. He's just the goalkeeper's names, which it didn't really help the situation. Even though Martinez is not going anywhere now, so how's he gonna get back into how's he gonna integrate back in the squad?
Interesting. For me, look, I don't really know, because I don't think Martinez ever looked like he downed tools in that Villa side, did he? Yes, he was left out last night, and that was the manager's choice. So, because of all the speculation, of course, withdrawing from the situation, that's only right. But I don't know. I think Martinez again is no player, but will just come straight back in. That's how I see it. But there's big problems at Villa at the moment, isn't there? They're so flat. I don't really know what's happening there. But again, I think Palace deserve a lot of credit, because Palace went there and the game plan was outstanding. Really, really good.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of Glasner. I love him. I think he's a great manager. And his size is so hard to beat all the time. And Palace, though, it'd be interesting to see how they do this season because of the lack of options they've got in that side. They've got Europe and everything. So the Palace ball haven't helped Glasner. So I don't know. But yeah, Villa, massive problems there. Flat, very flat. At home as well. And they just got played off the park really by Palace, who clearly wanted to win it more.
Yeah, very much they did as well, actually. And Doug said Liverpool will go back for him, but Lopez. I think that is going to be there as well for Gray as well. And he did say something about this as well just now, that the Villa fans are not happy with the signing of Jadon Sancho. It is a lot. For what I've seen, they're not being happy, but they're happy with having deals that's going to be done. Apparently, tell us about Villa's transfer window, Dan. Has it been a bit of a mismanagement this summer, especially how they missed out on the Champions League last season?
Yeah, I think they spent quite a bit, didn't they? Before, I mean, signing players like Ian Matson for silly money as well. And don't get me wrong, I think Emery's a good manager and the right manager for Villa right now to get a tune out of them. But this year, I don't know. Last year there was something about them. It almost seems like they've lost their way that little bit, which worries me. Like I said, the fact that Harvey Elliott, I think, is a cracking signing for them. It's the perfect move. Harvey Elliott's not really going to be getting the game time that he wants at Liverpool. He can sort of come in and be Villa's Grealish. I know that sounds horrible in a way because I'm comparing him to somebody else when he, go out there and be Harvey Elliott. But he could go there and give them that creative spark on the front foot. Sancho, that was a strange one. Like you had Rashford last year, and it's almost like you've just tried to plug a gap. We had one from United. Why don't we get another one?
Strangely, it's a panic, isn't it? Trying to
Yeah,
it is. It's backfired. And you know what? Jadon Sancho is not a player you want in that dressing room when you're struggling. Let me tell you.
If you were to put to Villa fans right now, would you? Because at the time they said, would you sign Rashford permanently? And they all went no. Now, if you was to ask them now at the end of this window, right, mate, you've got a choice. You get Rashford permanently or Sancho. Take your pick. I'm sorry, but there'd be people buying Rashford and whatever number on the back, and they would have certainly picked him over Sancho, hands down.
Yeah. You know what? That comparison now is actually, if they had that choice, they would have chosen it. But even Rashford's not really been doing quite well, right? Since he's moved to Barcelona, he's been off the bench a couple of times.
Rashford is, for me, he's lost all the hunger for the game since he got that big contract at United, and that's how I see it. And the fact he's even got a move to Barcelona shocked me anyway. He doesn't deserve a move to Barcelona. Who the hell does he think he is? He hasn't earned any right to play for Barcelona. So, look.
He must have won a Spotify competition or something.
Yeah.
I know. Just like, what? How has he got that move? He must have the best agents ever. Because, I'm sorry, like, I don't know how Barcelona fans have kind of took to that Rashford deal. I don't know if anybody else knows that, but I just don't think they would have been that happy, and I don't really see where he fits into that side anyway. So, but look, yeah.
There has been questions that I have from what I've been hearing across from Spain. They're not being happy of his, his bit of it is not bringing anything that makes a difference for Barcelona in the last couple of games from what I've been hearing.
At Barcelona, you need a work rate. You need to literally put blood, sweat, and tears on the shirt.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people seem to think you're going to go to Barcelona because there's 10 other players that can still make you look good if you do one little mishap. That's not going to work, Rashford. You've gone there. You need to resurrect your career. You said the same with Aston Villa. Go and prove it. Sorry, that's what you're not going to keep getting these moves otherwise. Although if it don't work out at Barcelona, I expect to see you plying your trade in the Championship next season, mate. Because it's hopefully we're United. Hey.
Yeah. These bands, oh well. Anyway, look, we don't want. Rashford can. Rashford. If Rashford could. Rashford just needs his contract terminated at United, and then
How long's he got left?
I'm not sure how long he's got left. Is it?
It's supposed to be at least 4 years at least.
Jeez.
Because I think that's why I do remember. Because I know he had a plus option to extend his contract I do know that. I think I do remember from his last contract.
2028.
Yeah, so he's got
Oh
3.
my goodness! Wow, on that big contract as well. Crazy madness. Wow.
Yeah, it is a surprise as well. Actually, Dan, there's a question coming for you before we get into Liverpool because Arsenal from Doug. Have you got Florentino Luis now? That deal was a big one. Is that deal now?
It is confirmed. The man is here in claret and blue. Done. Confirmed. It's he'll wear the number 16, same number that Stephen Defoe wore, and Sander Berge. So I think he's in good, capable hands. It's a good sign. I'm really shocked that we've managed to pull somebody like him in. I think he's class, and he's still only 26. Yeah, it was literally £100 million move between Liverpool and Chelsea 2 or 3 seasons ago.
It was, yeah.
Mad.
Wow. To fall in your hands to get a player like that is quality. It really is. It really is quality, that one. Right, let's finish off the final game of that. What a win for Liverpool. What a free kick from Dominik Szoboszlai in the 83rd minute to beat Arsenal 1-0 as well. Listen, it was a hard-fought game, guys, but I think it just shows you, Mikel Arteta, he just can't, and there's been jokes about calling him Stoke 2.0. And then the unbeaten run against top 6 teams has now come to an end completely now. So was that a win for Liverpool that needed, despite it was not going to be their best performance?
Yeah, you just have to go into that game for me and just win it. And Liverpool weren't the best, were they, either? Had Arsenal come out and actually gone in to win that game, then they may have had a chance. But Arteta seems to go into matches, especially against the top side, especially against the teams that are top sides, going in it kind of looking not to lose rather than going to win it. That's the mentality shift. He's done it in the bigger games, well, in the Champions League. So that's why they've not got off the line, for how long now, in terms of winning trophies, because he is the one that holds this club back. And to have one shot on target as well, Arsenal in this game, very, very poor. And yeah, look, for me, Liverpool got the job done, but they haven't been convincing, in my opinion, Liverpool, this start of the season. Haven't been like, whoa. You know what I mean? So I think Liverpool got quite fortunate because there weren't really much between the two. Like, other than Liverpool wanted to win the game, Arsenal didn't.
No, I'd second that. I think you look at the games that they've played against Bournemouth, where they've been a little bit poor. They almost like they've tried to go all out attack, but defensively they've just not been solid enough. I'm very surprised at Konate because I think even from the first 3 games we've seen that he's the weak link in that defence.
I think his head is turned so much after because he's in his last year's contract as well, especially and that's what we do. It's with Real Madrid link, it's just in his head. It's just messed around with his head and not really concentrating on with what his current team, and that is the issue why they were trying to get Matt Gray before that deal was scuppered. So
it's I can understand why Liverpool wanted Gueye because again it'll fall in that quartet of an English player as well. That for in that 25-man bracket, and you've got to have all these extra little rules in there now. But I'm also surprised that Liverpool didn't have contingency options if this was to come about, because they've had the whole window to identify at least 3 to 4 different options. And let's not lie, you're Liverpool. You could mention any name and they'd probably want to come to you right now. You're on a high. So I'm surprised that there wasn't any more names really rumoured other than Mark Gueye to come in. Also, that surprised me because Palace obviously have signed a keeper, haven't they? Some young 18-year-old.
Yeah.
But because he's clearly not going to be one that comes straight in and slots in, I can understand why they've done what they've done. But yeah, Liverpool for me against Arsenal, it just took that's what them games sometimes need, just a moment of brilliance. I won't lie, I think the refs cam probably got the best view of that free kick, to be honest.
It was a good free kick, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I didn't want it. I don't like Liverpool, but yeah. It was a good free kick.
It was very Cristiano Ronaldo-esque, that free kick, actually.
It was. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, absolutely. It's listen, if Arsenal can't compete for the title race, and it's like you said, what Doug's just said just to you now, right? The way they do this, try to set pieces, is very fun. We beat them with a set piece because that's what Arsenal's strength is. But they lost to a set piece last night. So especially he's not convinced with Arteta the way he sets himself up very much, and it just showed you with one shot on target. And now William Saliba is out injured as well now, so
Yeah.
they're gonna have to really, they've let Yakako go to Porto on a loan deal just now. So in a way, this the next couple of days, after the chance with Arsenal, we'll have to see how the extent the severity of Saliba's injury and how do they cope with it in the next coming weeks. Especially with the Champions League starting up.
Yeah, they've got that Mascara, haven't they, though, that they brought in, and obviously that Hincapié that they've just signed. So they're both centre-backs. I know they're not a Saliba, but obviously, yeah, they're options for them. But I just don't think Arteta is a very good manager, but it seems like they're just going to stick with him forever. The Cronkies don't seem to want to sack you, really. But they're not going to win trophies with him. That's how I see it. And his tactics are dreadful. And unfortunately, you can't keep relying on set pieces to score goals because it doesn't always work. So yeah,
forever the bridesmaid.
Yeah. Doug's answer the question: did you guys see Saliba was reportedly injured in the warm up? No, I didn't.
I heard that, but he still started him.
He still started. That's the thing.
That's foolish. That's
because if you compare to what happened in last weekend before that, when Cole Palmer was injured before the game against West Ham for Chelsea at London Stadium, they didn't risk him to play. He couldn't play. So how have Arsenal just really let him play and he went off? That if you know that he not take a risk, then you could have just
risk. Yeah, I agree. That was a crazy decision, wasn't it? And now, how long is he going to be out for?
Yeah,
he could be out for months and months now. That would be massive. I mean, look, you're not going to replace Saliba in that side, are you? So, yeah, very bad mismanagement from all involved.
Yeah, absolutely as well. It is a big mismanagement from Arsenal. But for Liverpool, like I said, guys, they got the win. And like I said, Dan, the goal gets you guys after the international breakout. How are you looking forward to that game after at Turf Moor in a fortnight's time?
Ideally, I wouldn't have liked the international break. I think if we'd have gone into say the game was this weekend, I think following on from what happened at United, I think we'd have that fire in our bellies to try and put some of the wrongs right. Although we're playing the top six, so I doubt that's going to happen. But yeah, we've got to make Turf Moor a fortress. Simple as, no matter what, as the home side, and we've had some very good results against Liverpool at Turf Moor, so it'll be interesting. It'll be an interesting game. I think Liverpool will be expansive. My issue from a Burnley point is we need to try and counter that, but countering it, you have to be clinical, and on our day we can be, but most of the time we do struggle in front of goal.
Yeah, absolutely as well. Gentlemen, thank you very much. We'll discuss about got a question from NX Sports TV, which we'll do shortly. I was just going to get the tables from the Premier League this past weekend and see how it goes, and then we'll discuss the transfer window stuff as well from our perspective for each of our club as well. So let's go into the Premier League table at this moment in time. So Liverpool are still with 100% unbeaten records winning start to the season, with Chelsea behind them. Arsenal Spurs dropped down to third and fourth. Everton with their winner now behind them in fifth place. Sunderland, one of the new teams, with this 6 out of 3 points. Bournemouth and Palace and Manchester United and Forest make up the top half of the table, and in the bottom half, it's still no wins for Wolves, while Villa and Fulham make up the bottom 3. Newcastle are just hovering above the relegation zone, with West Ham getting their first win of the season as well. So, yes, we will come to that in a second. So we've got some questions for us, and let's answer it for Nippon himself. For all of you, are you satisfied with your transfer deal? Who wants to go first?
Go on,
I've already answered it, so yeah, me, you already know. I'm not happy. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. I'll give you a shot this week. Dan, over to you.
Well, we made 10 signings in this window. Can't complain. Obviously, there's still players looking like, I'm just checking Twitter now, and looks like we've still got one or two that may be going out on loan. So I think Manuel Benson's potentially going out on loan to Swansea. And I think there is one more that got mentioned. I can't exactly see where, but I'm very happy with what we've done. I think, would I have liked one or two more if I was being greedy? Yes, but I think we've done all right. If you'd have told me that we've gone from literally signing Stoke rejects to signing a midfielder, okay, that played at Southampton in Ugachukwu, who was one of their standouts in a terrible season. Brozier is one that I think we've took a massive risk on because he needs to keep fit. Shoring up the loan players that we had was massive because obviously under company we didn't. Like I say, we only brought one in, which was Jordan Bayer. I wanted us to sign Taylor Howard-Bellis. I wanted Teller, wanted Matson, but we never did any of that. And this time we did that by getting Jayden Anthony, Bashir Humphreys, Marcus Edwards, and Zion Fleming. So them four were through the door. Dubravka's the surprise one for me because he's only signed on a 1-year deal, and I think it's how do I word it? When you're making a signing as a club, you've got to sometimes look at the deal of what's the sell-on fee, what's this, what's that. But this is a keeper that's 38 now, so he's already looking towards the back end of his career. A 1-year deal, I think, is brilliant. It gives him that game time for a year. Let's see what happens. If we go down, he probably stays. If we stay up, thank you for giving us a season. He may even stay on and play second fiddle. There's a lot of keepers in the Prem now that are still 40 odd. Like say Bettinelli, Heaton, a few that are still just lingering around. So yeah, I'm hoping that we can make a good account of these players because we've not really seen many of them. We've only seen spells of what they can do. And for me, we've had him for years, but we've never actually seen him play for Burnley. He's Mark Trudeau. If he doesn't leave, I'll be really interested to see what he can achieve because I've seen the videos of him in training, and he's an absolute different animal. Now we thought that he was gonna. Well, we thought he was spitting his dummy out and thought I'll never play for Burnley in the Championship, but he actually didn't. He's been battling with a blood disease, and he told the club to keep it to themselves. So some fans have been on his back and slagged him, but I think now that they've realised, they've gone a bit like, oh shit, And if he does stay, if he doesn't make a loan to anywhere, where the window's still open, then redemption season for him. It'd be good to see him play this year. But I'm more than happy nipping with my window. Very happy.
Well, do you know what? As I've just seen not too long ago, I knew this deal was not happening, but Harry Wilson to Leeds is now scuppered completely. It's off, and I now question. Listen, and everyone has a love-hate relationship with Farker, which we accept. But but I can tell you that I think everyone's going to feel sorry for thinking if you're Adam Underwood and Pragmath and you're supposed to be backing your manager, you just spent £10 million on getting Yusuf Cementu from Everton for ages. But why have you left it late again to not get a player in that we need to? When you let Ramazani go,
I was going to say Ramazani one, you've not replaced him. That's bad.
Yeah, and you couldn't get the players such as El Kanous, Mana Solomon. I can go with the list, can go on and on as well with that one. It just feels a bit frustrated from the board and not backing Farker as much. And I think he was what he said Saturday. It's I need to be backed with having need at least 2 more players, and we're not got 2 more players coming. So where do we go now, especially after the international break? If it's gonna be if he's gonna say to you, if this is the reason why I told you guys with the results, we decided 2 players we needed in attacking midfield. There's your answer.
Well, there you go. Them two at boardroom level have given you your answer that if it does go tits up, they can blame Farker. However, fans aren't stupid. Fans aren't stupid. They'll know that, I'm sorry, if you wanted to put your hand in your pocket and really go for it and really push for it, you could have done, and you haven't. You know it's bad when there was already talk that Farker was going to get the chop as soon as he's won the league.
Yeah.
And that's shocking for me. I'm sorry, if you're not happy with the manager you've got, then chop him then. Even if you had that success, chop him then.
And
It
was radio silence for weeks and weeks until
it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. I mean, from my point of view, on the inside, I'll eat it up like no tomorrow, and I will laugh and enjoy the moment. However, from a footballing perspective, nobody wants that to happen to their club. So I totally get where you're coming from.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, actually, Doug has given us another question for you, right? And also for Dan. Who are your 3 to go down?
For me, I'm going to go straight in there. I'm going to go for Wolves, Brentford. I'm going to go for Leeds.
No, listen, everyone's been saying the same thing. No, and
I know that there's nothing to what. You know what? Like, it's a little bit like, I think that Burnley might be close, but I like Burnley. I hope Burnley stay up. So that final place is because of that. Anyway.
Listen,
he's from Lancashire, really. He's right, and he puts that Yorkshire accent on.
I know, especially he's a Huddersfield fan, and I'm from Huddersfield myself, mate. And especially I'm from Huddersfield myself. I do know how the hatred it is completely living in that, growing up, born and bred in Huddersfield. Especially 2 of my cousins did play for Huddersfield Town, so my loyalties is more on the lead side of the Huddersfield. So.
I don't know who I'd say for going down. I think Wolves has got to be in there. I'm sorry, but they're poor. You take Strand Larson out that side, and it's Championship at best, like mediocre Championship at best. So yeah, I'm going to say Wolves. I don't know. I'm going to. You know what? I'll be real. I'll put us in there. And I've always said that 2 out of the 3 that got promoted will go down. So I will say Burnley, Leeds, and Wolves.
Yeah, no, that's a fair enough, and that's how everyone says it. And look, I even said I said at the start of the season, Dan, I even put you guys down and put Leeds as Sunderland instead, because I think Sunderland have a little bit more. I think Leeds, yes, the physicality, but I question now is the lack of the pace, is the lack of attacking final third that we need. Is that going to change? So it's a tough one.
The one thing I've said about Leeds as well is that they can't play like they did last year.
No. Everyone knows
on the front foot, all you're going to do is open yourself up massively. You're going to leave massive gaps at the back. I think, what game was it? Oh, it was the Everton game. You actually played with quite a highlight. But you can boo me all you want for putting Burnley to go down, but it's true. It's true though, babe. Like, I'm serious. I don't want us to. Obviously, 17th and above, I'll parade through the town in a pair of underpants. I don't care. But I want to be real. And after the last 2 years of seeing teams come up and flop, you've got to be a realist as well. So going back to the Leeds thing, like I say, I think against Everton you was quite like you were in the Championship on the front foot, but I don't think Everton were prepared for that.
No,
against better teams and better sides, I think it will Bartlett's in the arse.
The Arsenal game was a write-off,
Yeah.
and I will make that one. We knew we were not going to get anything out of that one. I expected maybe a little bit more of the Carlton had a chance to score against Newcastle on Saturday. It's just that quality up front is the issue. So, yeah.
It's going to be a long old season, boys. I'll give you that.
Yeah, well, that is going to be a long, long season indeed. It really is. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me as well, and also for everyone who's been joining in the chat as well too. Ryan, can you tell everyone where you're at, and I will make sure your link is in the description after the show. Hopefully, we'll get Ryan back on shortly as well. Dan, tell us where you can find you.
Yeah, at Turf Morehouse TV. I'm trying to get myself back into the football scene after being out for a while. But yeah, can't wait to finally, hopefully, put some good content out again. And I need to speak to Doug actually about getting him on for a match preview. So if he's still in the chat, I'll drop you a message soon. But yeah,
he
Turf
did
Morehouse
actually
TV.
say that to you. He'll be in touch with you. So
Top
yes.
man. Top man.
Yeah, he'll be in touch with you. You can find Right at United Central here as well. So I will put his stuff in the description later on as well. So, but like I said, thank you very much for everyone to watch it. Please hit that subscribe button on both Doug and my channel as well. I really appreciate that. And listen, we won't be back on here for the 20th till after the next international break, which will be, hopefully, I'll get the date up again. We're back on around about the 15th or 16th of round of September, depending on what's going on with the Monday Night Football. We'll let you know closer to that when we are going to be on. But yes, it's been a good week, another good week for some of the teams that's done well, especially Sunderland. And even though some controversial decisions, it's still an issue right with VAR. But everyone have a good international break. We'll see you guys back after a fortnight's time. But also, I'll be back here this weekend to do a shorter version of the Saturday show because of the international break. We'll be focusing more on the League One, League Two clubs that are still playing as well over the weekend as well. And we'll talk about some of the World Cup qualifiers as well too. And also, like I said, the championship review will be back after the international break as well too. So yes, keep an eye on Doug's content as well, and also my content and Dan and Ryan's content as well. So all of you have a good weekend. Take it for now. It's goodbye.